Many people have been talking about the NAR, National Association of Realtors, settlement, but how might this affect New York City real estate? Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Erin Stabb, your New York City real estate expert, and my goal is to help you achieve your real estate dreams. I'm going to talk about the 4 key elements of the NAR settlement, and then 3 ways in which New York City real estate is going to change. Now be sure to watch this video until the end. As always, I have a bonus tip for you. There's been a lot of talk and buzz about the Sitzer-Burnett verdict and NAR settlement, so I thought it's important to explain how this affects or might affect New York City real estate. In the Sitzer-Burnett case, the jury found that the defendants had violated antitrust laws by conspiring to fix real estate commission rates. The jury awarded the plaintiffs $1.78 billion in damages. And since then, NAR has settled an antitrust lawsuit against them that alleged a conspiracy to inflate real estate commissions. You've probably heard a lot about this in the news, and some of the information might be confusing. Now, NAR had originally vowed to appeal the Sitzer-Burnett case in Missouri, but since NAR was hit with a slew of other cases, and there was no way they could post the bond to appeal the Sitzer case and fight all the copycat lawsuits, they have settled. The proposed settlement agreement aims to resolve litigation stemming from the claims that the real estate industry conspired to maintain high broker commissions. There are 4 key elements of this settlement, starting with number 4, the release of liability for over 1 million NAR members and other parties. Next up, number 3, a payment of $418 million by NAR. Anyone who sold a home after October 31st, 2019 will be eligible for a payment, so long as it was listed in an MLS and a commission was paid. Sellers should receive notification if they're entitled to a payment. Keep in mind, more than 21 million homes were sold in that period. So if you assume that legal fees consume about 1/3 of the settlement, that leaves just under $300 million for home sellers, or just over $13 a piece. That's it. Up next, number 2, buyer-broker agreements will be required. NAR agreed to create a new rule requiring MLS participants working with buyers to enter into written agreements with their buyers before the buyer tours a home. Sounds like a great idea. NAR has long encouraged its members to use written agreements to help consumers understand exactly what services and value they provide, and for how much. And lastly, coming in at number 1, the biggest takeaway of the NAR settlement are mandated changes to multiple listing service, or MLS, practices. Specifically, the removal of the co-broke field from the MLS. NAR agreed to create a new MLS rule prohibiting offers of compensation on the MLS. This would mean that offers of compensation could not be communicated via an MLS, but they could continue to be an option consumers could pursue off MLS through negotiations and conversations with the listing agent. The issue was that in most of these MLSs, the co-broker field for commission was a required field, meaning you had to put an amount and you couldn't put 0. So sellers felt like they were being forced into offering a buy-side commission. And I believe you may also be able to put the commission offered in your copy of your listing. This change will go into effect August 17th, 2024. It's important to note that NAR admits to no wrongdoing. So then, why did NAR enter into this settlement? Well, here's a statement from NAR. From the beginning of this litigation, we had 2 goals. The first, secure a release of liability for as many of our members, associations, and MLSs as we could. And second, preserve the choices consumers have regarding real estate services and compensation. This proposed settlement achieves both of those goals and provides a path for us to move forward and continue our work to preserve, protect, and advance the right to real property for all. So then, how might this affect New York real estate? The impact of the settlement on New York City is still unknown, mainly because in New York, we are not part of NAR, nor do we have an MLS, so technically none of this applies to us. We do, however, have a listing service where agents list and share their exclusive properties for sale. Many people in the industry, including myself, believe the impact will be minimal, and actually, some good things will come out of this. I'm going to discuss the top 3 things that came out of the Sitzer-Burnett verdict and NAR settlement that will change how real estate is conducted in New York City. Starting off with number 3, These new regulations aim to enhance transparency. Amazing! This is a great thing for our industry. Let me ask you, have you bought a home with the help of a real estate agent, but never discussed with them how they get paid for their services, or if you as the buyer will be responsible for paying for their services? I think a lot, if not most people have. It's always been a given that the seller of a property has already established with their agent that an agent representing the buyer will receive half of the commission. But that has not typically been disclosed to the buyer, and they should know this information. Because at the end of the day, it's all about a net number for both the buyer and the seller, and everyone should know how these numbers are derived. So hopefully this will reinforce consumer confidence. Coming in at number 2, agents will be required to have a buyer-broker agreement signed before viewing properties. This is huge. And why haven't we been doing this already in New York City? There are many other cities that already have this practice in place, and it's kind of crazy when you think about it. Agents like myself spend sometimes hundreds of hours over many, many months, or sometimes even years, working for a client with no type of professional agreement about compensation in place. And don't forget, agents are only paid if a transaction occurs, and we work 100% on commission. It's a really tough business. As a buyer, you have the right to have representation should you choose it. But now you'll be required to sign an agreement with your agent that outlines their services and compensation. That'll say in the event that the seller is not offering a commission to a buyer's agent, or if they're offering a reduced commission to a buyer's agent, that the buyer agrees ahead of time to either pay their agent's commission, whatever that may be, or make up the difference between what the seller is offering and the agent's minimum commission. Just to be clear, sellers can still offer a buyer's commission. There's no mandate or law in any state that says a seller cannot offer a commission to a buyer's agent. It just can't be on the MLS or listing service. So this segues into number 1, addressing the most controversial topic. These new regulations separate buy-side and sell-side commissions. Rather than the seller having an agreement with their listing agent that says they will pay their agent X%, for example, 6%, and then if there is a co-broker or buyer's agent, the listing agent agrees to split their commission. Instead of that, now our listing agreements have decoupled the commission, and they specifically outline that the seller agrees to pay their agent X%, whatever that may be, based on what they decide, and the seller will then have the option to decide if they want to offer X% to a buyer's agent. The listing agreement will also present a third scenario where the buyer does not have an agent representing them, in which case the listing agent and the seller would agree upon X% commission. Now, that does not mean that an agent has to charge less than their standard, but rather it has always been up to the seller to choose who they want to work with, taking into account the commission that agent charges. All right, I promised a bonus tip in the beginning, and this is for all of those sellers out there. For those owners who said, woohoo, I can save money after this settlement and lawsuit when selling my home. Well, if you choose not to offer a commission to a buyer's agent, and that is totally your right, just realize there will simply be some buyers who want representation but can't afford that extra out-of-pocket expense, which means they'll likely pass on seeing your property. I urge sellers to think of paying a buyer's agent as a way to get the most people through your door, the most offers, and the most well-organized and competitive offers from agents representing their clients. A lot of you may not realize, but 90 to 95% of the sale transactions in New York City have a buyer with an agent representing them. So my tip is to look at the bigger picture if you're selling your home, and don't get swept up in the thought that by not offering a commission to the buyer's agent, you'll save money, because in the long run, chances are you'll be hurting yourself more than helping yourself. If you like this video and would like to see more videos, click on the like and subscribe boxes on the screen. Once again, my name is Erin Stabb. I'm a real estate agent in Manhattan and Brooklyn, and if you'd like to work with me, my contact information is in the description box below. Thanks so much for watching. I will see you in the next video, and remember that my goal is to help you achieve your real estate dreams.